The air in the lower levels of Station Nexus 7 smelled like rust and broken dreams. Zara Velnari pressed her back against the cold metal wall, holding her son close to her chest. Kip's breathing was getting worse. Each small gasp made her heart break a little more. She looked down at his pale face. Half human, half Kethmaran like herself. But the mix was killing him slowly. His human blood and her alien blood were fighting inside his small body. The doctors called it genetic rejection syndrome. Zara called it a death sentence. "Mama, I'm cold," Kip whispered, his voice so weak she could barely hear it. Zara pulled her last good cloak tighter around both of them. It was the only thing she hadn't sold yet. Everything else was gone. Her family's ship, passed down for 10 generations, sold to a scrap dealer for half its worth. Her mother's ceremonial scales, worth more than most people earned in a year, traded for medicine that barely helped for a week. Even the bio-enhancement implants in her spine, the ones that helped her survive in space, were gone now. "I know, little star," she whispered back, using the pet name she'd called him since he was born. "Mama will find a way to make you warm again." But she was lying. She had tried everything. The Galactic Medical Consortium had laughed at her when she begged for help. "Hybrid children are mistakes," the Altarian doctor had said with cold eyes. "We don't waste resources on evolutionary dead ends." Her own people, the proud Kethmoran, had been even worse. They called Kip an abomination. They said she had polluted their bloodline by loving a human. When Paul, Kip's father, had disappeared, without a word when she was pregnant, her family had cast her out completely. "You made your choice," her father had said. "Now live with it alone." So she had. For 8 years, she had lived with it alone. She had worked dangerous jobs, lived in terrible places, and fought every day to keep her son alive. But now she was at the end. She had nothing left to sell except herself. The thought made her stomach turn, but she had already made contact with the flesh traders in the deep levels. They would buy her into 20 years of servitude for enough credits to maybe, possibly, keep Kip alive for a few more months. It wasn't much hope, but it was all she had left. She was about to stand up and walk to her fate when she heard voices coming down the corridor. Human voices speaking in their soft musical language. Zara grabbed Kip and pulled deeper into the shadows. Humans were supposed to be dangerous. At least that's what everyone said. They were violent and unpredictable, just like her own people, but worse because they hid it behind false smiles. But these humans sounded different. One of them was laughing, and another was arguing about something called chocolate ice cream. They didn't sound violent, they sounded happy. "Lisa, you can't seriously be thinking about trying the Zephyrian street food," one voice said. "Remember what happened to Rodriguez last time?" "That was completely different," a woman's voice replied. "And besides, I'm a doctor, I know what I'm doing." A doctor. Zara's heart started beating faster. She pressed herself further into the shadows, but Kip chose that moment to start coughing. It was a terrible sound, wet and painful, and it echoed off the metal walls. The human voices stopped. "Did you hear that?" the woman asked. "Sounded like someone's in trouble," another voice said. Footsteps came closer. Zara held Kip tighter and tried to make herself invisible, but it was too late. A light shone into their hiding place, and she found herself looking up at 3 humans. The woman was smaller than the men, with dark hair and kind eyes. She was wearing a blue uniform with medical symbols on it. The 2 men were bigger, but they didn't look threatening. One had gray hair and steady eyes. The other was younger, with dark skin and a concerned expression. "Oh my God," the woman breathed, dropping to her knees in front of them. "You're hurt. Both of you." Zara tried to speak, but only a growl came out. It was an old Kethmoran defense meant to scare away threats, but the humans didn't run. Instead, the woman held up her hands in a peaceful gesture. "It's okay," she said, softly. "I'm Dr. Lisa Parker. I want to help. Can you understand me?" Zara managed to find her voice. "Stay away," she hissed in broken standard. We have nothing for you to take." The older man stepped forward. "Ma'am, We're not here to take anything. We're from the human ship New Dawn. This is our chief medical officer. If someone's sick, she wants to help. Help? Zara laughed bitterly. No one helps us. We are nothing. Mistakes. Dead ends. Dr. Parker's face went soft with sadness. Who told you that? Everyone, Zara said. My people. Your people. All people. She looked down at Kip, who had gone quiet again. Too quiet. Fear shot through her, like ice water. Please, she whispered, all her pride forgotten. My son, he is dying. I have nothing left to pay, but please just look at him. Dr. Parker was already moving closer. What's his name? Kip. He is half human, half like me. The mix is killing him. The doctor's hands were gentle as she examined Kip. She had a small medical scanner that beeped and flashed as she worked. Her face got more serious as she read the results. Genetic rejection syndrome, she said quietly. How long has he been like this? Always. But worse now. Much worse. Dr. Parker looked up at the two men. Something passed between them, some kind of silent conversation. Then she turned back to Zara. Listen to me, she said firmly. My name is Lisa Parker, and I'm a doctor. This is Captain Jake Morrison and Commander Ryan Davis. We have a medical bay on our ship that's a lot better than anything on this station. Will you let us help your son? Zara stared at her. Why? Because he needs help and we can give it. But I cannot pay. We're not asking you to pay. Then what do you want? Dr. Parker smiled, and it was the first real smile Zara had seen in years. We want to help a little boy get better, that's all. For a moment Zara couldn't breathe. She had spent so long believing that kindness always came with a price, that no one helped without wanting something back. But looking into this human woman's eyes, she saw something she had almost forgotten existed. Hope. You would do this, she whispered. For strangers? For outcasts? Captain Morrison stepped forward. Ma'am, where we come from there's no such thing as outcasts. There are just people who need help and people who can give it. Kip stirred in her arms and opened his eyes. They were getting dimmer every day. But right now they looked up at the humans with curiosity instead of fear. Mama, he whispered, are they going to help us? Zara looked at her son, then at the three humans who had appeared like a miracle in the darkness. She had given up everything she had for this child. Her family, her home, her people, her possessions, her future. She had nothing left to give except trust, and maybe, just maybe, that would be enough. The medical bay of the human ship New Dawn was unlike anything Zara had ever seen. Everything was clean and bright with soft white lights that didn't hurt her eyes. The bed they put Kip on was more comfortable than any place they had slept in months. But what amazed Zara most was how the humans treated them. Dr. Parker worked over Kip for hours, running test after test. She explained everything she was doing in simple words, never making Zara feel stupid for not understanding the medical equipment. Other crew members brought food, water, and clean clothes without being asked. They smiled at Kip and spoke to him like he mattered. Zara stood in the corner, watching it all with confused wonder. She kept waiting for someone to demand payment or ask what she could do for them in return. But no one did. The genetic conflict is worse than I thought, Doctor, Parker said after studying the test results. His human immune system is attacking his Kethmoran organs, and his Kethmoran healing factors are trying to reject his human nervous system. It's like a war inside his body. Can you stop it? Zara asked, afraid to hope. I don't know yet, but I'm going to try everything I can. Captain Morrison appeared in the doorway. He was a tall man with gray hair and eyes that looked like they had seen many things. How's our patient, Doc? Stable for now. I've given him something to help with the pain and inflammation. But Jake, this is going to take time and resources. We might need to change our mission schedule. Zara stepped forward quickly. No, she said. I will not let you delay your important work for us. We can leave, find another way. Captain Morrison looked at her with surprise. Ma'am, with respect, your son can't be moved right now. And even if he could, where would you go? You said yourself, you have no money, no resources. I will find a way. I always have. By doing what? Selling yourself to those flesh traders down in the station's lower levels? Zara went very still. How do you know about that? Because when we found you, you were headed in that direction. And because I've seen that look before. The look of a parent who's run out of options. He sat down in a chair near Kip's bed, making himself less threatening. Let me tell you something about humans, Zara. We don't abandon people who need help, especially not children. But your mission will wait. Some things are more important than schedules. That evening, Zara found herself in the ship's mess hall. It was a large room where the crew ate their meals together. Dr. Parker had insisted she needed to eat something, and Kip was sleeping peacefully, under the watchful eye of the medical computer. The mess hall was full of humans talking and laughing. When Zara walked in, they all went quiet. She froze, expecting hostility or fear. But instead, a woman with short brown hair and kind eyes waved her over. You must be Zara, the woman said. I'm Maya Santos, chief engineer. Please sit down. You look exhausted. Zara sat carefully, ready to run if needed. Maya put a plate of food in front of her. It smelled wonderful, but Zara hesitated. It's just soup and bread, Maya said gently. Nothing fancy. But it's hot, and it'll help you get your strength back. Why are you being kind to me? Zara asked. You don't know me. You don't owe me anything. Maya smiled sadly. Because 8 years ago I was a single mother with a sick child and no one to help me. I know what it's like to be desperate and alone. What happened to your child? She got better. Good doctors, good medicine, good friends who cared. She's 16 now, back on Earth, probably driving her teachers crazy with too many questions about engineering. Maya's smile got brighter. Kids are tough, tougher than we think sometimes. Around the table, other crew members nodded. A young man with dark hair said, My nephew had something like what your son has. Different cause, but the same kind of genetic problem. The doctors on Mars figured out how to fix it. I'm Ben Rodriguez, he added. Communications officer. I've been reading about Keth-Moran biology all day, trying to understand how your people's healing works. It's amazing, really. Your son has the best of both species in him. Zara stared at him. Most people say he has the worst of both. Most people are idiots, said another voice. A young man with pilot's insignia sat down across from them. I'm Alex Turner. I fly this bucket of bolts, and I think having the best parts of two different species sounds pretty awesome. But he's dying, Zara whispered. Right now, yes, Dr. Parker said, joining their table. But that doesn't mean he has to keep dying. We just need to figure out how to make his two halves work together instead of fighting each other. How? Well, that's the interesting part. Human medicine usually focuses on fighting disease, destroying what's wrong. But Keth-Moran healing is about balance, finding harmony between different systems. What if we combined both approaches? Zara felt something stir in her chest. Something she hadn't felt in so long she almost didn't recognize it. You think it could work? I think it's worth trying. But Zara, I need you to understand something. This won't be quick or easy. It could take weeks or months, and we'll need to learn everything we can about both human and Keth-Moran biology. I know very little about medicine, Zara admitted. But you know about being Keth-Moran. You know how your body heals, how it feels when the balance is right or wrong. That knowledge could be the key to saving your son. Commander Ryan Davis, who had been quiet through dinner, finally spoke up. There's something else you should know. We sent a message to Earth about Kip's condition. Our best xenobiologists are working on the problem too. You're not alone in this anymore. Zara looked around the table at all these human faces. They were looking back at her with genuine concern, like her son's life actually mattered to them. It was overwhelming. I don't understand you people, she said quietly. Where I come from, everyone looks out for themselves first. Family second if you're lucky, strangers never. Maya reached across the table and patted her hand gently. Maybe that's why you ended up with us. Sometimes the universe knows when someone needs a different kind of family. That night, Zara sat beside Kip's bed in the medical bay. He was sleeping peacefully for the first time in weeks, his breathing steady and quiet. Dr. Parker had given him something that helped with the pain, and for a few hours at least he looked like any normal sleeping child. Captain Morrison found her there at midnight. You should get some rest too, he said softly. We set up quarters for you right next door. You'll hear him if he needs anything. I'm not used to sleeping when I can't see him, Zara admitted. For 8 years, if I wasn't watching, something bad might happen. I understand. But Zara, you don't have to do this alone anymore. My crew and I, we're going to help you save your son. That's a promise. Why? She asked, for what felt like the 100th time. I still don't understand why you care. Captain Morrison was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, because a long time ago, humans were alone too. We were one small species on one small planet, and the universe seemed too big and too dangerous for us. But we learned something important. We learned that when you help others, you help yourself too. When you save one child, you save something important about who you want to be. He paused at the door. Besides, anyone who would give up everything for their child deserves to have people fighting beside them, not behind them. After he left, Zara looked down at Kip's sleeping face. For the first time since he was born, she dared to imagine a future where he lived to grow up, where he learned to pilot ships like Alex Turner, or fixed engines like Maya Santos, or helped other sick children like Dr. Parker. It was a dangerous thing, Hope. It made you vulnerable. It made you believe in things that might not happen. But maybe, Zara thought as she finally allowed herself to close her eyes, maybe that was exactly what they both needed. 3 weeks into their journey to the medical facility in human space, Zara was beginning to understand something that scared and amazed her. The humans weren't just helping because it was convenient, or because they wanted something from her. They were helping because it was who they were. She watched Maya Santos give up her own food portions to make sure Kip got extra nutrition. She saw Alex Turner spend his free time teaching Kip to use the flight simulators, just to see the boy smile. She observed Ben Rodriguez staying up late learning Kethmoran lullabies so he could sing to Kip when nightmares woke him up. None of them asked for anything in return. None of them treated her like she owed them. It was confusing and wonderful and terrifying all at once. Mama, watch this, Kip called from across the recreation room. He was sitting at a computer terminal with Alex, his face bright with excitement. For the first time in months, he looked like a normal 8-year-old boy instead of a dying patient. I'm programming a flight path to the Andromeda Galaxy, he said proudly. Alex says it would take 300 years to get there, but we could do it if we had enough fuel. Zara smiled, feeling her heart swell with a joy she had almost forgotten. That's wonderful, little star. Maybe someday we'll take that trip together. Really? You mean it? She looked at Alex, who gave her an encouraging nod. Yes, she said. I mean it. But even as she said the words, fear crept into her heart. She had learned not to make promises she couldn't keep. Hope was dangerous. It made you believe in impossible things. Her fear grew stronger when the ship's alarms suddenly blared through the corridors. Captain Morrison's voice came over the communication system. All crew to stations. We have a Kethmoran patrol vessel requesting permission to board. Zara went cold. She grabbed Kip and pulled him close, her old instincts taking over. We have to hide, she whispered urgently. Why? Alex asked, looking confused. They're here for us. They'll take Kip away. They'll kill him. Dr. Parker appeared in the doorway, looking calm but concerned. Zara, what's going on? My people, Zara said, backing toward the wall with Kip in her arms. They found us. They'll say Kip is an abomination. They'll take him to be disposed of. The blood drained from Dr. Parker's face. Over my dead body. You don't understand. They have the right under galactic law. Hybrid children are considered genetic pollution. They can claim him. Captain Morrison strode into the room, his expression grim but determined. Not on my ship, they can't. Captain, please, Zara begged. Just let us go. Put us in an escape. Pod, don't risk your crew for us. Zara, look at me. His voice was firm but kind. We don't abandon family, and you and Kip are family now. But the law says a lot of things. Doesn't mean they're right. Through the viewing port, they could see the sleek predatory shape of a Keithmoran war cruiser moving alongside the New Dawn. It was 3 times larger and heavily armed. Zara knew what those ships were capable of. She had grown up hearing stories of their power. The communication system crackled to life. A harsh, familiar voice filled the air, speaking in the guttural Keithmoran language. Human vessel, we detect the presence of criminals aboard your ship. Surrender the genetic deviant known as Zara Velnari and her contaminated offspring immediately. Zara translated quietly for the crew. He's demanding you hand us over. Captain Morrison picked up the communicator. When he spoke, his voice was calm and professional. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human exploration vessel New Dawn. I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about. We have no criminals aboard this ship. The Keithmoran commander's voice grew angry. Do not lie, human. Our sensors detect Keithmoran life signs on your vessel. Oh, those, Captain Morrison said casually. You mean our scientific consultants, Dr. Zara Velnari and her research assistant? They're working with us on a joint xenobiology project. They're under the protection of the Human Scientific Exchange Program. Zara stared at him in shock. There was no such program. He was lying to a heavily armed warship to protect her and Kip. This is illegal interference with Keithmoran justice, the commander snarled. Actually, it's legal cooperation between species, under the Galactic Research Accords. Captain Morrison replied smoothly. I can send you the paperwork if you'd like. Might take a few hours, though. You know how bureaucracy works. There was a long silence. Then the Keithmoran commander spoke again, his voice cold with threat. You are making a mistake, human. The consequences will be severe. I'm sure we can work something out through proper diplomatic channels, Captain Morrison said cheerfully. Have a wonderful day. He cut the communication and turned to Zara. She was staring at him like he had just fought off a dragon with his bare hands. You lied for us, she whispered. I told them the truth as I see it, he corrected. You are a consultant. You're helping us understand Keithmoran biology so we can save your son, and you are under our protection. But your career, your mission, if they report this, Commander Ryan Davis stepped forward. Let me worry about the paperwork. I'm very good at making problems disappear into bureaucratic red tape. Dr. Parker knelt down beside Kip, who had been clinging to his mother throughout the confrontation. Hey there, research assistant, she said with a gentle smile. How would you like to help me with some real xenobiology work? I think your unique perspective might be exactly what we need. That evening, Zara found herself alone with Dr. Parker in the medical bay. Kip was sleeping peacefully, his condition stable for the first time since they had met the humans. But Zara couldn't sleep. The confrontation with her own people had shaken her more than she wanted to admit. You want to talk about it? Dr. Parker asked gently. Zara was quiet for a long moment. Then, slowly, she began to speak. His father's name was Paul Henderson. He was a human trader who came to our world to buy rare metals. I was young and foolish and thought I knew everything. She paused, remembering. He told me humans and Keithmoran could build a better future together. He said love was stronger than the differences between species. What happened? I got pregnant. When I told him, he said he needed time to think. He left that night and never came back. I never saw him again. Dr. Parker's face was full of sympathy. I'm sorry. My family was furious. They said I had betrayed our bloodline. When Kip was born and the genetic problems started, they said it was punishment for my sins. They cast me out and told me never to return. That must have been terrible. It was. But I thought if I could just keep Kip alive, somehow it would all be worth it. I thought maybe someday I could prove that love really was stronger than fear. Zara laughed bitterly. Foolish dreams. Are they foolish? Dr. Parker asked quietly. Zara looked up at her in surprise. Look around you, Zara. Look at what's happening on this ship. A human crew is risking everything to save a half-Kethmoran child they've never met before. Maya gives up her food so Kip can eat. Alex teaches him to fly. Ben learns your lullabies. Captain Morrison lies to a warship to protect you both. Dr. Parker sat down beside her. Maybe Paul Henderson was a coward who ran away when things got difficult. But that doesn't mean he was wrong about love being stronger than differences. It just means he wasn't strong enough to live up to his own words. But you are, Zara said quietly. All of you. You're living up to words he never even said. We're not perfect, Zara. We make mistakes. We have fears and prejudices too. But we try to be better. We try to choose love over fear, hope over despair. Most of the time anyway. Zara looked down at her sleeping son. I gave up everything for him. My family, my home, my people, everything I was. No, Dr. Parker said firmly. You gave up everything you had, but you never gave up who you were. You're still the mother who would do anything to save her child. You're still the woman who chose love over fear, even when it cost you everything. That's who you are, Zara. That's what makes you worthy of the love we're giving you now. For the first time since Kip was born, Zara allowed herself to cry. Not tears of desperation or fear, but tears of something she had almost forgotten existed. Gratitude, hope, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of healing. The medical facility on Luna Base was the most advanced research center in human space. Dr. Parker worked side by side with Earth's top xenobiologists, running tests that had never been tried before. But it was Zara who provided the key insight. That made everything possible. Kethmoran healing doesn't work like human medicine, she explained to the research team. We don't fight the sickness. We find the imbalance and fix it. Kip's human side is trying to fight his Kethmoran side, and his Kethmoran side is trying to fight back. But what if we could teach them to work together instead? The treatment took months to develop and test. During that time, Zara and Kip lived aboard the New Dawn, which had become more home to them than anywhere else ever had. Captain Morrison officially made Zara his navigation specialist, discovering that her natural Kethmoran spatial sense made her incredibly good at plotting courses through dangerous space. You have a gift for this, he told her after she successfully guided them through an asteroid field that had stumped his other navigators. Have you ever considered making it a career? Zara looked up from the navigation console in surprise. You would trust me with something so important? Zara, I already trust you with something far more important. I trust you with the lives of my crew, and you haven't let us down yet. Commander Ryan Davis began including her in tactical planning sessions. Her survival instincts, sharpened by years of living on the edge, often spotted dangers that military training missed. When pirates attacked a supply convoy near their position, it was Zara's strategy that helped them rescue the civilians without casualties. You think like someone who's had to stay alive against impossible odds, he told her afterward. That's not something you can teach in military school. But it was Maya Santos who became closest to Zara during those long months. They spent hours together in the engineering sections where Maya taught Zara about human technology, and Zara shared Kethmoran techniques for working with limited resources. On my world, we learned to fix anything with almost nothing, Zara explained as she showed Maya how to repair a damaged power coupling using spare parts and creativity. When you're always one broken machine away from death, you get very good at making things work. Sounds like being a single mother, Maya laughed, making miracles happen with whatever you have on hand. Most importantly, Zara watched her son transform. Under human care and surrounded by people who valued him, Kip began to flourish in ways she had never imagined possible. Alex Turner taught him to fly shuttles, and Kip showed a natural talent that amazed everyone. Ben Rodriguez helped him learn multiple languages, discovering that his hybrid brain processed information in unique ways. Dr. Parker involved him in the research to cure his own condition, and his insights often surprised the adult scientists. I can feel when the treatment is working, he told the research team during one session. It's like the angry voices in my body are starting to sing together instead of shouting. The breakthrough came when Kip himself suggested combining Kethmaran meditation techniques with human gene therapy. What if we teach my genes to be friends instead of enemies, he asked. It worked. Slowly, carefully. Over weeks of treatment, Kip's human and Kethmaran genetics began to function in harmony instead of conflict. His health improved dramatically, but more than that, he began to show abilities that neither species possessed, alone. But their success brought new challenges. Word of the breakthrough spread throughout human space and beyond. Suddenly, everyone wanted to study the miraculous hybrid child and his mother. Galactic authorities questioned humanity's right to interfere in alien genetics. The Kethmaran government formally demanded Zara's extradition for crimes against species purity. Most concerning of all, a faction within Earth's government began arguing that protecting alien refugees set a dangerous precedent. We can't save everyone, Admiral Patricia Walsh said during a tense video conference with Captain Morrison. If we start taking in every outcast and exile in the galaxy, where does it end? It ends when we stop being the kind of people who help others, Captain Morrison replied firmly. Admiral, with respect, that's not the humanity I signed up to serve. Your personal feelings aside, Captain, you've exceeded your authority. You were ordered to conduct scientific exploration, not start an interspecies refugee program. The crew of the New Dawn faced their own moment of truth. Following orders would mean abandoning Zara and Kip to their fate. Defying Earth's government could end their careers and their mission. They didn't hesitate for a moment. We're with you, Captain, Commander Davis said, speaking for the entire crew. Whatever it takes. The solution came from an unexpected source. Dr. Parker's research into Kip's condition had revealed something extraordinary. His unique hybrid genetics, stabilized by human medical intervention, held the key to understanding how different species could safely interbreed and coexist. He's not just a success story, Dr. Parker explained to a gathering of human scientists and officials. He's proof that genetic diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. His immune system can resist diseases that would kill either pure humans or pure Kethmoran. His brain can process information in ways that neither species can match alone. He represents the future of galactic civilization. The political situation shifted dramatically when other hybrid children throughout the galaxy began arriving at human facilities, brought by desperate parents who had heard about Kip's cure. Each one was unique, each one represented untapped potential, and each one proved the same point. Diversity was not a weakness to be feared, but a strength to be celebrated. Ben Rodriguez, now fluent in 17 different languages thanks to his work with hybrid children, became the official liaison between human facilities and alien families. Maya Santos led the engineering teams that adapted human medical technology for use with dozens of different species. Alex Turner trained the first generation of hybrid pilots, whose unique perceptions made them incredibly skilled at navigation. Captain Morrison found himself at the center of a movement that would change the galaxy forever. 1 year ago, he said to Zara as they stood on the observation deck, watching Earth turn slowly below them. You thought you had nothing left to give. But look what you've started. Zara watched a group of children playing in the ship's recreation area. Human children, Kethmaran children, and hybrids of a dozen different species, all laughing and learning together. Kip was in the center of it all, healthy and happy and surrounded by friends who saw him as a person, not as a mistake. I gave up everything I had, she said quietly, but I never gave up hope. And that hope is changing the universe. Dr. Parker joined them at the observation window. The Earth Council just voted, she announced. The interspecies integration program is officially approved. Zara, they want you to be the first official ambassador. Zara stared at her. Ambassador? You'd help coordinate the program, work with families like yours. Make sure no parent has to face what you faced alone. It was everything she could have dreamed of. Recognition, purpose, the chance to help others avoid her pain. But as she looked out at the stars, Zara realized her dreams had grown bigger than that. Thank you, she said finally, but I have a different idea. 1 year after Dr. Lisa Parker had found them dying in the shadows of Station Nexus 7, Zara stood on the bridge of her own ship. It wasn't the biggest or newest vessel in space, but it was sturdy and reliable, and most importantly, it was bought with honest work and human friendship, not desperation and fear. "Mama, we're getting a distress signal," Kip called from the communication station. At 9 years old, he was healthy, brilliant, and more capable than most adult crew members. His unique hybrid abilities made him an incredible navigator and translator. But what made Zara proudest was his huge heart. "What kind of distress signal, little star?" "It's in Zephyrian. A mother with 2 sick children. She's on Station Nexus 7 in the lower levels." Zara smiled. "Set course for Nexus 7. Best speed." The bridge of the New Hope was smaller than the New Dawn, but it buzzed with the same energy of people working together towards something important. Dr. Parker had taken a sabbatical from Earth's medical service to help establish treatment centers for hybrid children throughout the outer systems. Maya Santos had transferred to the integration fleet as chief engineer, designing ships specifically equipped to help refugee families. Ben Rodriguez worked as a cultural liaison, his gift for languages making him invaluable in first contact situations. Alex Turner had been the biggest surprise. He had requested transfer to the Outer Rim Exploration Service, claiming that all the interesting flying was happening out here. But Zara suspected it had more to do with his friendship with Kip and his belief in what they were doing. "You know," Alex said from the pilot's seat, "a year ago, if someone had told me I'd be flying rescue missions for alien refugees, I'd have thought they were crazy." "What changed your mind?" asked Dr. Parker, who was reviewing medical files of the children. "They were going to help. Watching Kip grow up, I guess. Seeing what he could become when people believed in him instead of fearing him. Makes you wonder how many other incredible kids are out there, just waiting for someone to give them a chance." The New Hope wasn't alone in its mission. Over the past year, the interspecies integration program had grown beyond anything anyone had imagined. Human ships carried medical supplies to alien colonies. Hybrid children attended schools on human worlds. Mixed crews explored the galaxy together, combining the best abilities of different species. But there was still work to do. Still families, like Zara and Kip had been, alone and desperate and running out of hope. When they reached Station Nexus 7, Zara felt a familiar chill. The lower levels looked exactly the same, dark, dirty, and full of broken dreams. But this time she wasn't here as a victim. She was here as someone who could help. They found the Zephyrian mother in almost the same spot where Dr. Parker had found them. She was holding 2 small children, both burning with fever, both struggling to breathe. Her large golden eyes were full of the same desperate fear Zara remembered so well. "My name is Zara," she said gently in the Zephyrian language, which Kip had taught her during their journey. "This is Dr. Parker. We're here to help." The Zephyrian mother looked up at them with suspicion and hope warring in her expression. "You are humans? But I am Zephyrian. My children are mixed-blood outcasts." "We know," Dr. Parker said, already scanning the children with her medical equipment. "We specialize in helping mixed-blood children. How long have they been sick?" "Since birth. The doctors say their Zephyrian and Andromedean genetics are incompatible. They say the children will die." Zara knelt down beside the mother. "What's your name?" "Lyra. These are my sons, Cass and Orion. Lyra, I want you to listen to me very carefully. 1 year ago, I was sitting in this exact same place with my dying son. The doctors had given up on him. My own people had cast us out. I had sold everything I owned and was ready to sell myself just for a few more days of medicine that wouldn't even work." Lyra stared at her. "What happened?" "These humans found us. They didn't ask for payment. They didn't care that we were outcasts. They just saw a sick child who needed help and they gave it freely." "But why?" Zara smiled, remembering asking that same question so many times. "Because that's who they are, and now it's who I am too." The rescue and treatment of Cass and Orion followed the same pattern that had been established over dozens of similar missions. Dr. Parker stabilized them with emergency treatment. The New Hope carried them to the nearest integration facility. Human and alien doctors worked together to find the right combination of therapies. Most importantly, the children and their mother were surrounded by people who valued them as individuals, not as problems to be solved or mistakes to be corrected. But this rescue was special for Zara because it proved something she had been wondering about for months. She wasn't just good at helping other families because she understood their desperation. She was good at it because she had learned how to love without fear, how to give without expecting return, and how to hope even when hope seemed impossible. The humans had taught her that love wasn't a weakness to be hidden or a luxury to be rationed. It was a strength to be shared and a gift that multiplied when given freely. 6 months later, Zara stood in the observation lounge of Luna Base, watching Kip play with a group of friends that would have been impossible to imagine when she first found the humans. There were pure human children, pure alien children, and hybrids of every possible combination. They were laughing together as they worked on a group project about galactic exploration. "Look at them," Maya Santos said, joining her at the window. "A year and a half ago, most of those kids were dying or cast out or both. Now they're planning to explore the galaxy together. Kip says they want to be the first all-hybrid exploration crew," Zara said proudly. "He thinks their combined abilities will let them go places and do things that single-species crews never could." He's probably right. That kid has good instincts. Dr. Parker appeared beside them, looking tired but happy. She had just finished a conference with medical professionals from 17 different species, sharing the latest advances in hybrid compatibility. Treatment. "How did the conference go?" Zara asked. "Better than I hoped. We now have standardized treatment protocols for 43 different species combinations. The survival rate for hybrid children has improved by over 90% in the last year." 43 combinations, Maya repeated in amazement. "Do you realize what that means? In just 1 year, we've gone from thinking hybrid children were impossible to having protocols for dozens of different types. It means the galaxy is going to be a very different place in the next generation," Dr. Parker said. "These kids won't grow up thinking that differences are something to fear. They'll see them as something to celebrate." Captain Morrison's voice came over the communication system. "All senior staff to the bridge. We have an interesting situation." When they reached the bridge, they found Captain Morrison staring at a message on his screen with an expression of amazed satisfaction. "What's the situation, Jake?" Dr. Parker asked. "Remember Admiral Walsh? The one who thought we were being too soft, taking in refugee families?" "Unfortunately, yes. She just sent me new orders. Earth Command is officially expanding the integration program galaxy-wide. They want us to establish permanent rescue and treatment facilities in every major system. Apparently, the economic and scientific benefits of hybrid integration have exceeded all projections." Ben Rodriguez grinned. "I love it when doing the right thing turns out to also be the smart thing." "There's more," Captain Morrison continued. "The Galactic Council is creating a new classification for hybrid children. Instead of being considered genetic anomalies, they're now classified as evolutionary advantages. Several species that used to forbid interbreeding are now actively encouraging it." Alex Turner laughed. "So Zara and Kip went from being hunted outcasts to being the future of galactic evolution. That's got to be some kind of record." Zara felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of what they had accomplished. When she had first begged Dr. Parker to save her son, she had only wanted him to live. She never imagined that their story would change, the way the entire galaxy thought about diversity and acceptance. "There's one more thing," Captain Morrison said, turning to Zara. "The Kethmaran government has formally apologized for their treatment of you and Kip. They're requesting that you return home as a cultural ambassador to help them learn how to better integrate with other species." Zara was quiet for a long moment. Going home had been an impossible dream for so long that she wasn't sure how to feel about it becoming reality. "What do you think, little star?" she asked Kip, who had been listening from the communications station. Kip looked thoughtful. "I think maybe we could visit sometime, but this is our home now. These people are our family, and there are still lots of kids out there who need help." Zara smiled and put her arm around her son. He was right, as he often was. The New Hope and her crew had become their real family, bound not by genetics, but by choice and love and shared purpose, Captain, she said formally. Please send my thanks to the Kethmoran government for their apology. Tell them that when they're ready to truly learn about acceptance and love, they know where to find us, but for now we have work to do. As the New Hope prepared to depart for their next rescue mission, Zara stood once again at the observation window, looking out at the stars.